Hello, welcome to a new episode of Geek Lunch Meat. I am your host Chris. As usual, hope you're all well out there as we reach the end of January, always the longest month in history. Here in the UK now, COVID restrictions are pretty much over. Don't need to wear masks. Everyone's been told to return to work, so it looks like we've finally sort of gone endemic as opposed to pandemic, and we will just be carrying on and dealing with COVID as is. Hopefully, the entertainment industry will start to pick up again. Not much news again this week. And this time of year, always, as I've said before, always gets a bit slow. Anyway, but most of the news this week is sort of announced, mostly from Netflix as well. So I imagine this will be quite a short video. But if you like what you see, if you could hit the subscribe button and the thumbs up. I had quite a few new subscribers last week, which was great. I think some off the back of a new series I've started doing where I'm building the model kit of the Razor Crest, the ship from the Mandalorian. So if you want, if you're into that sort of thing, have a click and have a view of them. Hopefully I'll get part 2 up this week. So on with the news. There was a little teaser trailer dropped for Pinocchio, Guillermo del Toro's new stop motion movie that's coming to Netflix in December of this year with Ewan McGregor. Doesn't really show you much, it just shows you Ewan McGregor voicing, I suppose, like the Jiminy Cricket character. I don't think he's called Jiminy Cricket. Probably a Disney copyright thing, I imagine, on that. But yeah, I love stop motion. The old Ray Harryhausen stuff, Nightmare Before Christmas, absolutely love. And Henry Selick's work, including James and the Giant Peach adaptation. Yeah, all good. I've tried my hand at it once, and it's so even more time consuming than you think. You spend all day taking frame after frame, and at the end of like sort of 10, 11 hours work, you've got like 18 seconds of a puppet sort of slowly jerkily moving along. So big respect to anyone who does stop motion in that. Yeah, it looks good. Guillermo del Toro is one of my favorite directors working today. His visual style is pretty much unsurpassed at the moment, so I'm sure it'll look good. I say that's December this year that will come to Netflix. Also, Netflix dropped the trailer for Murderville, a new show that's coming out on February the 3rd, starring Will Arnett as a cop. And the premise is a murder happens every week. There's a celebrity guest star, and they don't have a script. So they basically have to improvise based on what's going on. It's got the potential to be funny, got the potential to be a bit of a train wreck. I think it's going to depend on the guest, I would imagine. You've got Sharon Stone, Ken Jeong, Camille Nanjiani guesting amongst others. Ken Jeong, I really find really funny. So there's and Will Arnett I think is great. So there is some potential there. We will see with that one. I'll put a link to the trailer in the description below as always. We also dropped the trailer for Space Force season 2, the show starring Steve Carell and John Malkovich. As the US branch, a bit like I think like what Trump announced that he was going to have this US military branch in space, and well aware that it got a lot of people slated it season 1, and I must admit, it isn't as funny as you might think it would be. But I still enjoyed it. Yeah, it's one of those ones I can't defend it. If someone said, "Oh no, I didn't like that. I didn't find it very funny at all," I can fully understand why. I did, however, quite enjoy the characters and what was going on. So I'm surprised it got a second season. It obviously must have got better viewing figures than the reviews implied. I say February the 18th, that is coming. I believe at the end of season 1. I said it was a while ago that it came out. I think a bunch of them had been stranded on the moon at one point. The trailer doesn't actually appear to mention that at all, but it'd be interesting to see. Oh, and I think Steve Carell's character was on the run from the government with his wife who'd broken out of prison. I could be completely misremembering, but I'm pretty sure, I'm assuming that will get all dealt with. Say it's not mentioned in the trailer at all, but yeah, we'll see with that one. Some more news from, I wasn't going to report on this because I thought it was a rumour. I generally don't tend to report on rumours or we'd be here all day. Usually it's just news that's sort of official. But this seems to be pretty much official now. In that Netflix announced it is doing the Masters of the Universe live action movie that's been percolating away through Hollywood for the last sort of 15 odd years. Sony, I think, had the rights. But yeah, it looks like it's now coming to fruition and Netflix will start filming it this summer. it makes sense. They've done they did a CG He-Man cartoon a while back, and then they did Master of the Universe Revelation recently, which I reviewed, which I really enjoyed the first half, didn't enjoy the second half so much. This is coming from, it's going to be directed by Adam and Aaron Nee, who were, I've never heard of them, they're writers of Lost the City, the film that's coming out, Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum later this year, which I did show the trailer for a while back, which I still haven't decided. It's either going to be genius or utter shit. It's hard to tell from the trailer. It looks like it could swing either way. Apparently, they're going to be directing it with Kyle Allen as He-Man. Again, not someone I've heard of. I think he's in Spielberg's West Side Story. I assume he's got the physique for it, which is why he's been chosen. Hopefully it'll be better than the version we got in the 80s, which at the time as kids it was all right. But I think even as kids you knew, it was that cheap cop out. It was the usual thing. We haven't got the budget for it, so what do we do with any old sci-fi that we can't? We'll set it on Earth. So instead of it being on Eternia with all these different creatures, instead you bring it straight to Earth, and suddenly it becomes a lot cheaper to make and loses a lot of the story. It wasn't the greatest, so yeah, I'm all for a decent adaptation. So it only starts filming this summer, so expect that to be a while yet. That's pretty much it on the news this week. So let's take a look at what I've watched. Finished off Hellbound, the Korean series on Netflix, which I really enjoyed. I think it's only 6 episodes. Give it a go. Hopefully there's a season 2 coming. It sort of definitely leaves it on a cliffhanger. It does a lot of stuff that I wasn't expecting. Characters sort of disappear unless they're going to come back in the second season. So halfway through the show, it's suddenly sort of become, it sort of skips forward and becomes something else, which is good. It takes a turn that you weren't really expecting. Some of the CG's not great with the angels or demons, whatever they are, that come to drag you to hell. But if you like that sort of thing, Hellbound's definitely worth watching. Also, finally watched Underwater, the movie with Kristen Stewart, which is now dropped on Disney Plus this week. Sat on a shelf for ages. I think it was the last ever film that was made by 20th Century Fox, and then Disney bought the studio, and I think it has become 21st Century Studio. It's all right. It only goes on for an hour and a half, so you're not wasting a lot of time. If you like creature features, it's strange because there's probably a good movie in it that doesn't quite come to the surface. Excuse the pun. Vincent Cassel is also in it. He's always good. He does a good role in this for what he's got. But reading some interviews with the director, there's obviously a film in there. It's like a stealth Cthulhu film, based on the H.P. Lovecraft books. There are some scenes that I thought they sort of linger on some maps and paperwork and photographs and stuff, and you get the gist there's something going on. And then from reading his comments, he's heavily implying that the sort of the big underwater beastie that turns up is is Cthulhu himself, and that it's all very Lovecraft. And you sort of think, well, for me they should have lent more heavily into that, made that explicit, the idea that maybe this oil or drilling company either A, knew about Cthulhu and didn't care, or B, were actually that there are a bunch of occult they're a bunch of occult worshippers, and that they're actually doing this deliberately to raise Cthulhu. It's, as I say, it's like a stealth Cthulhu movie that doesn't lean heavily enough into it. If you like a creature feature, it's enjoyable enough for an hour and a half. It's quite well made. A lot of it is very dark. Hard to tell what's going on in some parts, but it wasn't bad. It's not the worst film I've seen. Lastly, probably Book of Boba Fett episode 5 that everyone's been talking about, mainly because obviously end of episode 4 we got the little musical cue that led us to believe that the Mandalorian would be turning up in the next episode, and sure enough he does. What I don't think any of us expected was he was just going to turn up and would be the entire episode, with Fennec Shand making a brief appearance at the end, and Fett not turning up at all. It is essentially Mandalorian 2.5, a sort of prequel to Mando season 3. And ironically, and it just goes to show how the sort of Book of Boba Fett is not doing what a lot of people wanted it to do, because everyone said this is the best episode of the season, and and Fett's not even in it. Yeah, it was just goes to show. Yeah, it is a very exciting episode. You just the very first 5 minutes of Mando doing his thing with the dark saber, and you think, oh yeah, that's what I wanted to be watching. All along, I wanted to see Boba Fett being absolute badass as what we expected he would be. Just when him and Fennec just walk in and shoot, Bib Fortuna at the end of Mando season 2. I think a lot of us thought we were going to get that, and instead, we've had all the flashbacks, what was going on before, and the actual story in the present day is not moving forward very much. And what it's doing is Boba Fett's not being very hardcore as the story does move forward. Lots of love for the prequels as well in this episode, and I'm glad to see. Say spoilers if you've not seen it already. Skip this bit, but to see the Naboo N1 spaceship back, which is always one of my favourite Doug Chang designs. I've built a model of it before. It looks absolutely great, and they've done this new, made it chrome like the Razor Crest, and like put a hot rod engine in it, and taken out the droid port and put in this clear bubble that looks suspiciously exactly the size that Grogu would sit in behind him. And then speaking of Grogu, Mando's missing him a great deal, and at the end of the episode says, I need to go and see a little friend. Now, there's only 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett left, which makes you wonder, I don't know, are we going to see that happen in the next episode? Let's leave it even less time for the actual Boba Fett story, this coming war that they keep talking about that never seems to actually appear. It seems, I don't know if they're actually going to get it all completed. It does make me wonder, is this whole series just almost like a prequel to Mandalorian season 3, and then all the payoff is going to be in there? Who knows? I thought Crimson Dawn and Kira, I thought seemed a shoe-in. I'm not sure now with the way the story's going. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with that. So only 2 episodes of that left. And that's about it, to be honest. That's about all I've watched this week. So yeah, subscribe and hit the thumbs up button if you could. That'd be absolutely fantastic to help the channel out. And until next time, eat geek and be merry.